Biology, Chapter 1, Section 2, Biotalk, Food Chains and Webs. A bat ate a mosquito that had bitten a coyote, that had eaten a grasshopper, that had chewed a leaf. All these living things make up a food chain. A food chain is a step-by-step sequence that links together organisms that feed on each other. The story, however, is incomplete. It does not mention that many animals other than coyotes eat grasshoppers and mosquitoes bite other animals. It also does not consider that coyotes and bats eat and are eaten by a great many other living things. When you consider that the kind of plant a grasshopper might eat may also be eaten by various other consumers, you start to build a picture that links together a whole community of living things. Those links resemble a food web rather than a food chain. A food web is a series of interconnected food chains or feeding relationships. The diagram shows how members of a community interact in a food web. And let me scroll down to the diagram. Okay, so that's the diagram they're referring to. And this food web diagram is also on your copy of the PDF from Google Classroom, so you can access that. Okay, so let me scroll back up. Organisms in the food web. Autotrophs are organisms that are capable of obtaining their energy directly from the environment. Most autotrophs obtain their energy through the process of photosynthesis. In this process, solar energy is converted into a form of energy that can be used by the organism. Heterotrophs obtain their energy from autotrophs or other heterotrophs. For this reason, autotrophs, the organisms that make the food, are called producers. In the diagram, grass, vegetables, and trees represent the producers. The heterotrophs are called consumers. Herbivores are the first-order consumers. They feed directly on the plants. These organisms are removed by just one step in the food chain from the producers. In this example, they include mice, rabbits, and deer. Carnivores are second-order consumers. They feed on the animals that eat other plants. The owl and the mountain lion are just two examples of carnivores. Omnivores eat both plants and animals. A human is an example of an omnivore. There is another group of organisms in the food web that is so important that these organisms are often treated as a separate group. They are the decomposers. They break down the complex organic molecules that are found in the wastes and bodies of other organisms. They do this to obtain food energy for their own use. In the process, they release nutrients back into the ecosystem. Bacteria and fungi make up most of the decomposers. Alternative pathways maintain stability in food webs. The alternative pathways in a food web help maintain the stability of The alternative pathways in a food web help maintain the stability of the living community. Let me scroll down. If the rabbits in some area decrease in number, perhaps because of some disease, the owls might be expected to go hungry. However, this is not the case. The rabbits eat less vegetation. Hence, the greater number of plants produces more fruits and seeds and furnishes better hiding places for mice. Soon a larger population of mice is present. The owls transfer their attention from rabbits to mice. Now let me go back up and read the caption. Okay, referring to this picture, and here's the caption. The food habits of rabbits vary depending on location, time of year, and species of rabbit. They generally prefer to eat tender green vegetation. They also eat leaves, bark, seeds, and even fruit of woody plants. Rabbits begin feeding in the evening and continue throughout the night. Okay, where were we? The owls transfer their attention from rabbits to mice. This reduces the danger for surviving rabbits, and these primary consumers have a better chance to rebuild their numbers. The greater the number of alternative pathways a food web has, the more stable is the community of living things which make up the web. Now we're going to look at the owl. We're going to read the caption. Owls are nighttime or nocturnal birds of prey. Owls feed entirely on living animals. They eat everything from insects to mammals as large as rabbits. The size of the prey is proportional to the size of the owl. So it says owls feed entirely on living animals. And if we go back up, that was defined as carnivore right here. Okay. Only a few of the possible offspring of a plant or animal survive to reproduce. Of all the seeds a plant forms, all but a few are eaten by animals. Some die from diseases. Others are killed by poor weather conditions. This can happen either as seeds or somewhat later in life as young plants that have not yet formed seeds of their own. Humans are so used to thinking of the welfare of their own species that they tend to regard as wasted all the offspring that do not survive. But there is another side to the picture. For one thing, the world lacks space for so many individuals of any one kind. Also, these individuals are needed as food by a great variety of consumers. Without the fruits, seeds, young plants, and foliage, the primary consumers could not exist. Without the primary consumers, the plants would die. They would become overcrowded or lack nutrients. Without the primary consumers, the secondary consumers would be reduced in numbers because of competition or would become extinct. Without waste from plants and animals, including dead remains, the decomposers would not be able to get their nutrients. Without decomposers, nutrients that the producers require would not be returned to the soil or water. Through the presence of all these components in the food web, each species is held in check and the community maintains its stability.